Okay, guys, let's get started. And our today's topic is anxiety. And I believe that this is the right moment to start because I've got a knot in my stomach. My hands are clammy, so I prepared this job beforehand. Okay, my name is Tonya, and today I would like to talk about anxiety because I will tell you the reason why we are talking about anxiety a little bit later. But a disclaimer, in the very beginning, I'm neither a psychologist nor a psychotherapist. I'm a business analyst, and I'm not going to tell you how to cure your anxiety like fully and recover from it, but I will give you a few probably good strategies how you can manage your anxiety and how you can overcome anxiety in your daily life and your daily work. Okay, if you need help, do not hesitate to ask for help because there are special people that help with depression, anxiety, etc., etc. Okay, my name is Tonya. I'm a senior business analyst, a product owner, and since I'm not a psychotherapist, you might be interested why I'm talking about anxiety. And my experience in business analysis is more than 10 years, but my experience in anxiety is like my whole life because I'm an anxious person. And I've been experiencing it as long as I remember myself. And that's why I managed to find some ways how to overcome it. As I already mentioned, just a few words about me. I'm a person who is affected by stress and anxiety deeply. And in general, I have a low stress level and I'm not tolerant to stress at all. And new environment, new projects, new customers, everything affects me. And the second point is that my anxiety level in general is pretty high, not only when I'm doing my job, but in general, in real life. And here I'm mentioning that sometimes anxiety is the first emotion and the first feeling that I catch when I open my eyes in the morning. So I believe that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's dive deeper into the topic. I will start with a pretty basic slides about the environment and about the all these conferences, about the BA professionals, etc., etc. So what I'm noticing that there is a tendency not only in BAs, but only for other specialists. There is a tendency to emphasize success over challenges and mistakes we make, and this is multiplied by a remote work and a limited access to our colleagues. When we do not have like real conversations with people, we do not have these job chit chats. When we come to the kitchen with our colleagues, we have a cup of coffee and we talk about challenges, tasks, difficult clients, and sometimes, especially me, I'm not sure about you guys, but what feel I is I'm always under false impression that all the tasks that I do in my work life, they are easy peasy for my colleagues. And they come to a daily stand up and it's like, okay, I made this, I completed this task. And I was like, oh, wow, are you a Terminator or something? Because for me, this is like the stress level at my daily life is like 90% out of 100. But I believe that this impression is really false because even we do not talk about anxiety and our daily stand-ups. When I have close conversations with BAs, with my friends who are BAs as well, we talk about anxiety a lot. This is like topic number one because we always discuss how difficult was this, how difficult was that, how challenging this feature was, etc., etc. because in all the closed discussions, none under record, anxiety is like really topic number one. And I made another step, and I have a small gay blog, and I've got like a few people watching my stories, so I made a questionnaire for them, and I asked my colleagues and my friends in the blog who else have this feeling, this anxiety, and who face with anxiety every day. And if you feel anxious, you are not alone, because about like more than 60% of people told me that they also experience this feeling almost every day. So basically, that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk about anxiety and to make this topic visible, not only for me, but for my colleagues and probably for you. I hope that you are not here because you know me, but because you are interested in the topic. Okay, let's move on. I will give you a real life example. So 2 years ago, I changed my job, and I made a switch from the USA market. I used to work with USA customers to the UK market, and I started working with UK customers. And I had like a full handful of different stress factors, like new projects, new domain, new colleagues, everything. And on the top of that was my UK colleagues, because I'm not sure that you guys watch. Yeah, I'm sure that you watch all those videos, series in English, and when you meet someone who speaks with a UK accent, you probably notice that it's really difficult, literally, to understand these people. And for me, this became a nightmare. And at the very beginning, I had a really challenging feature. It was like full of unknowns, and I had to go to our customer success lead and to ask her for help. And she is from London, and I had a full mirror board, and this mirror board was full of different diagrams, all the assumptions I made. And I went to this meeting to confirm these assumptions. And then came here, and she was saying something to me, and I was like, I was so anxious before the meeting that I came there stressed out. Really, I felt like this was a bad day for me. And I came to this meeting, and she was saying something, and I had no clue what she's talking about. And then I made this next step. I tried to explain myself. I tried to explain all these diagrams, and I forgot every English word that I had in my mind, like literally. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And after this 30 minutes meeting, I ended this meeting. I verified none of the assumptions. She didn't understand me like completely, and this was a disaster. And basically, this is what anxiety made to me. I forgot all the English words. I forgot how to talk to people. I forgot how to make decisions. I forgot how to understand people. This was horrible. And this meeting, it was in the morning, but it ruined my day. I completed 0 tasks that day. And this was really awful. And including the fact that I am experienced professional, and I know something about business analysis. So this didn't help. And after that, I was trying to understand what's going on, and I was trying to make this puzzle and to understand what happened this that day. Sorry. And I found out that business analysis is basically a sum of stress and anxiety. Because why we say that this is a stressful job? Like, because this is literally why business analysts exist, because there is a high level of uncertainty, because there is unknown environments, because there are difficult domains everywhere, difficult domains. They do not hire business analysts into like a project where you need to paint your buttons from red to blue. I don't know. That's true. And that's why our profession exists. Because we are also anxious because we do not have experience in all those difficult domains. But not because we are bad specialists, not at all, but most likely because there are no people with a great expertise there. We literally sometimes we do not have a person who we can come and ask our questions to. And that's crazy. And in every BA book, they tell you the cost of your mistake is huge. And you're like, if I make this one small mistake, this will cost a fortune to the company I work for. That's crazy. And I also added some internal factors because I know a few business analysts, and to be honest, all of them are the same people because all of them have this very special attitude of mind when they try to foresee everything, when they try to understand every edge case available in the world. They are perfectionists, they are sometimes hyper responsible persons, and sometimes all of us we have like simply bad days, right? And here, everything is a business analysis. And what I else found out about the stress and anxiety in general, I also mapped this to the core BA skills that are expected from us. And the interesting thing here is that stress and anxiety, these two things, most likely will affect the core BA skills. Because core BA skills are the ability to concentrate and keep focus for a long time, ability to communicate, and also our, well, I forgot the word, no matter, problem solving skills and decision making skills. Because when we are stressed, when we are anxious, our thinking is narrowed. We are like the horse with this, And this is basically what happened to me at that meeting because I lost my mind. I was not able to say a word. I was not able to make any decisions and to think of all these diagrams, etc., etc. This was horrible, but these are core BA skills affected by stress and anxiety. This is literally what happened to me at that meeting. And at that very point, I made a promise to myself. I told myself that I will do everything to not allow this happen again. And my first thought was that I need to avoid stress and anxiety, like at all, like 0% of stress and anxiety at any cost. This didn't work, of course, and I know why. I found some researches over the internet. I listened to a great guy, Yakomanovsky. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard about him, but I found out that our productivity, our ability to focus, our ability to learn new things, this is something that is really affected by stress, but not in the way I thought originally. Because I thought that this low stress level, this is something that I need to achieve. Because I was here and my productivity and my communication skills, they were pretty low. And this is why this happens because this happens because when we are at our maximum stress level, our brain and our body is busy with survival. Our brain thinks that somewhere there is a tiger and we need to run from it. And that's true. we cannot do our job when we are at our max stress level. But I brought a little bit of hope to you, because we do not need to avoid stress at all. We need to make one step back and to manage this stress just a little bit. Because if we are at the medium stress level, we are at our highest point. Our ability to focus, our ability to concentrate on difficult things at our max level. And that's why we do not need to avoid stress at all. This is like not possible. What we need to do is to make one small step back. Okay, so how do we do that? The most interesting part of today's lecture. Strategy number one. I call it recognize, understand, and benefit. So this is basically the way how we can benefit from our anxiety and how we can find insights in our anxiety. As you already noticed, it consists of 3 steps. So the first one is recognize. Second one is to understand. And then only after these 2 steps is to benefit from it. So I added these steps here because at some point in my life, I found out that I cannot recognize anxiety, like at all. All I can do is to be stressed out and totally disoriented, and I can understand this only after being like a week in this condition. And that's why I added this step here, because what we need to do first is we need to train ourselves to recognize anxiety when its level is pretty low. We do not need to wait when it is like 10 out of 10. We need to recognize it when it's at 2 or 3. And I will give you a technique how you can do that. Just bear with me. The next one is to understand. And the idea is to catch this anxiety and to understand the reason of this anxiety. And the reason is not like they will fire me and they will die under the bridge. No, there are other reasons for your anxiety. And I believe that these reasons are something that can be converted into BA artifacts. Let's move on. Step number 1. There is an expression that helped me a lot when I started looking into anxiety in my life. And I posted it right here. So your anxiety is not your enemy, because most likely it happens because you are doing something. You are dying. Not really. Most likely it happens to you because you are doing something that matters and something that is really important to you. And every time when I catch this feeling, I like, okay, most likely this is something important and this is something valuable. Okay? Technique that I use, and this is not that interesting, probably this is not a golden pill or something, but I believe that we need to train ourselves to recognize emotions in general and anxiety as well. And I went to a psychologist, and I realized that I do not understand my emotions in general, not only anxiety, but in general. And she advised me to use this technique. She told me to set up timer twice a day, and when this timer rings, just make a pause to ask myself, how do I feel right now? And I was like, okay. And this was my answer, like every time, I'm okay. And then she understood that this will not work out for me, and she showed me this emotions wheel. Do you guys know what is emotions wheel? Yeah. Okay, this is a great tool because it really helped me. This is the list of emotions. I can share it with you after the meetup. This is a list of all the emotions that people can experience. And what you need to do is to simply open this list. And I was like, okay, am I at comfortable emotions? Am I at uncomfortable emotions? I like most likely uncomfortable. And I started looking into this list and looking for emotion that I feel right now. And sometimes there was anxiety. And interesting fact here is that I found another way how can I understand these emotions. And this way was, how does my body feel? This was the second question to myself, because sometimes I do not understand the feeling, but I can give a body response. And if my body response is like this or this, most likely I'm faced with anxiety, right? And sometimes making this simple gesture, like how does my body feel, it helps to understand the emotion, because we all saw these cartoons with all these heroes, they doing like this, or it's pretty understandable, right? And an interesting point here that in a few weeks, I found out that I can catch my emotions not when they are like at their 10th, but when they are at their 8 or 7. In a few months, I started catching anxiety when it's at its 2 or sometimes 3 or even 1. And this was a miracle because I started recognizing anxiety, and only after that I was able to benefit from it. How? The next question is to understand your anxiety. And I like another expression that anxiety is not our enemy, but it's our friends. Because most likely, if you are faced with anxiety, then there are points that you need to pay attention to. And most likely, it doesn't happen with you just because this is the person you are. And so, do you guys know what is 5 whys technique? You're VAs. I'm pretty sure that you know this technique. This is a technique that is used to understand the business needs, the root cause of the issue or something. This is the exact technique to use when you are experiencing anxiety. So basically, it's pretty simple. Like you are asking yourself why I feel this emotion, why I am anxious. And I brought you an example. So you remember this meeting with this lady from the customer success, right? And I started thinking about this incident, and I was like, why I am anxious? And I was like, okay, probably the feature I'm trying to build, our customers will never benefit from it. This was my first response. And I was like, okay, why they will not benefit from it? The second response was because probably I'm missing something important in this feature and I will not cover their needs. Okay, then why I will not cover their needs? And the third response was probably because I have a really limited access to our customers and I had no chance to interview any of that. And I was, okay, but I still have a solution. So how did that happen? And I was like, okay, I built a list of assumptions, and my solution is based on these assumptions. And the next step I made, I just listed all these assumptions. I just took pen and I wrote them down in my notepad. That's what I did. Okay. Okay. So what's next? What is our next step? The next step is benefit from it. And I would encourage you to categorize all your findings into 5 different buckets. Probably there are risks, assumptions, out of scope items, limitations and constraints, and dependencies, right?
Are we still talking about the anxiety?
Yes, because let's take the example. I was anxious because I faced with a fear that my feature will not meet our customers' needs, and this was a risk, right? And then I have a list of assumptions, and these are assumptions. Do you guys know what to do with risks? Do you know what to do with assumptions? It's like super easy. We just need to handle everything as business analysts. If we have a risk, then probably we need to think of how we can reduce it or avoid it or even accept. So what did I do? I just go to all these stakeholders. I communicate that there is a risk that we will not meet our customers' needs. And I bring the list of assumptions to them. So here are the assumptions I built my solution on. And they are, okay, we can verify these and these. But these 10 assumptions, they're not verifiable. And we need to believe in ourselves and to build this feature. And I was like, okay, but this is risky. And they are like, hey, we're accepting this risk. And everyone accepts these risks. It becomes like an easy peasy, right? This makes everything simple. And sometimes I find myself being anxious about some out of scope items. I didn't cover this and that, and I'm just going to communicate it to everyone. Like, let the stakeholders know what's going on and what we left out of scope. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm afraid that I miss a scenario or edge case here or there, or maybe my requirements are not so quite full. And I just go to the team and ask them to help me to verify this scenario and that scenario. This is how it works. But the idea of that is to recognize the anxiety, understand why it happens, categorize it, and do an action. As simple as that. Sometimes it doesn't work. Then what do we do next? I call it rationalize, and I have two sub strategies here. So the first one, if your finding does not fall under any of the five, use the advisory technique. I called it advisor for this meetup because this one did not have a name. Okay, the idea behind this technique is to still recognize the anxiety, understand why it happens, and then act as an advisor. I had an example for this one, but I forgot it because surprisingly I'm a little bit anxious. Okay? Yeah, give me just a second and I will try to recall the example I brought to you. Yeah, I remember. So, sometimes I'm anxious because the feature is too difficult and I have too much information around me. And this is something that does not fall under those five buckets. The feature is too difficult. I can do like nothing with all this information. And I cannot even understand all of this information. Probably I'm missing something, but I do not know what exactly. So I use this technique, and I call it advisor because we are not good at advising something ourselves, but we are good at advising something to other people. And that's the reason why it's called advisor. And here, what I do in this case, I just do a little step back and I ask myself, okay, so there is a problem. There is too many information and I do not know what to do with this. I will never cover it with my brain or something. What would I advise another person to do with this? And then it's like I can easily find an answer. Build a mind map, okay? Try to categorize everything. Go ask for help, this stakeholder and that stakeholder. And I'm like, okay, this is a plan, and I can easily do this. But the idea behind this is to recognize, understand, and try to, not to get emotional about this mess you're faced with. This is another way how to manage this anxiety. There is another one. I do not have a name, unfortunately, for this technique. But sometimes I just rationalize everything, and some horrible consequences. I just trying to imagine this. And before this meetup, I was like, okay, if I screw up this meetup, what would I do? What would happen if I like forget all the English words, for example? And I like, okay, probably they will never call me again. Probably all my followers, they will unfollow me on Instagram. Maybe. Okay, what else? And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, am I scared of these consequences? No. Yeah, a little bit. I still have a job, and I can do my job, like get money from this job. I'm not dying. Like, yeah, some people will see that I'm like bad performer or something, and that's it. And when I came here, I thought about all these horrible consequences, and I was like, okay, I can accept it. So that's another technique how you can manage this, right? Strategy number 3. Sometimes we are anxious because something has already happened. And I haven't found a better technique than to admit fuck up. I'm sorry, our online listeners. I manage this in 2 different ways. So the first one, I call it manage expectations. And sometimes when I'm anxious because something went wrong, for example, we cannot deliver the feature on time, and everyone are expecting this feature, I don't know, in June release, right? Or for example, our stakeholder want this feature to be implemented in some specific way, but we cannot do that because of difficulties like technical constraints or something, or maybe designers made a design that will take us a year to implement. And I call it manage expectations. When you are not a victim, but you can go to your stakeholders and say, okay, guys, here is what we have, and admit what's going on. And sometimes I imagine myself as those people, our stakeholders. And as a stakeholder, I would like to know all the consequences, all the difficulties in advance, instead of waiting for them at the June release when we come to the demo and like, we will not deliver that. That's bad. So if we call it manage expectation instead of I fucked up, then it sounds a little bit better and we can handle that, right? We manage expectations. And the last one, apologize. You remember that meeting with that lady with from customer success? Next morning, I wrote her a message in Slack, and I was like, hello, I know that something went wrong. Could we please have another meeting? And she was like, oh, no problem. What? In my head, this was a disaster. I lost my last chance to understand a little bit of all this difficult stuff behind my feature. And she was like, yeah, no problem, let's have another meeting. We had another meeting and everything worked out. I verified all the assumptions. I verified all the risks. I explained all the diagrams to her and she was like, looks good. So sometimes we just need to apologize. and to fix the problem. At the end, I would like to add a few fun facts. These are not strategies, but these are the facts that I use in my everyday work. The first one is about the environment. I work within the agile framework. Most likely, you guys also do. And I like to think about the agile as follows. So, agile, this is a framework that is created to manage anxiety. Anyone? Because this is not only about short cycles of delivery, blah, 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 feedback. This is also about anxiety. We can relax and deliver our features iteratively, gather feedback, and then rebuild these features. Agile is really tolerant to all the mistakes we make. And this is the fact that sometimes I use because, okay, I cannot foresee the future, but what I can do, I can deliver a minimum result, right? And this is why Agile exists, to manage our anxiety. So use this advantage of Agile framework. And the last one, running does not help. I had a strong belief that I can manage my anxiety and to get rid of it completely, but this is not true. And I started thinking about this as if I'm not anxious, most likely I'm dead. Or I'm a psychopath. I'm not a psychopath, then probably I'm dead. So you cannot get rid of it completely. And we sometimes need to accept it and to do our job. And I will share a funny story. At my previous job, I quit this job because my anxiety level went really high. And this was a year full of stress and anxiety. And at some point of time, I decided that I should quit and start baking bread instead of it. I was so anxious that I decided I'll go and I don't know, I will open a bakery. This work was in progress basically before the war. But that didn't help. And I found out that I am anxious even without my job. And I'm anxious when I bake bread. I'm anxious when I try to start a bakery. And even when I make candles, I am anxious. And I was like, the reason is not in our jobs. The reason is here in our heads. And what we need to do is to manage it effectively, but not to run from it. Thank you. Okay. So here is a QR code. Please use it to leave feedback. If you would like to, I don't know, add some nice details to these meetings, use this QR code to leave your, I hope, anonymous feedbacks. But I'm not sure about this. This one is not mine, but I still propose you to leave a feedback for this meetup. Okay? Good. Then, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer those questions, and I will be happy to share my experience further. Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Just, anxiety is emotion. Emotions something useful that is given for us by evolution. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's something is not totally right there. And I see here techniques, and all these techniques, there are just wants to fix something within your and me, but not within the world, let's say. And it's always options. Yeah. Do you believe that there is no chance to change the situation, that it's better to change the attitude to the situation?
Personally, me, I don't think that we need to get rid of any emotions. And I believe, and my belief is really strong, that anger, anxiety, sadness, these are like not really positive emotions, but we still need them.
Useful.
Yeah, they're useful, and I do not believe that something will change. Probably they will find a cure from anxiety, but personally, I will never take a pill of this. I don't know, magical something, because I don't think that this is a good way for us, to be honest. Probably they will invent something, but questionable.
Actually, there is some cartoon, I forgot how it's called, but it's about emotions and bad and good. And the main idea is that we also need bad emotions for all this.
It's a cartoon from a Pixar, Inside Out or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
It's
great
about that
cartoon.
idea.
Yeah, and they are bringing anxiety to their second series, and these ah ah
About the Swedish?
no, just a second, one more, up, up, okay.
Ah,
Here it
yeah.
is. This is the anxiety
From
from
the
this cartoon. Yeah, I love it, and I watched it like 5 times. Yeah, it's already available. Huh?
It's already available.
I'm in the first part. The second one,
Second is like in July, maybe.
yeah, this summer. But I took a picture from internet. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for bringing up this topic and to embrace this topic. I was just wondering, as part of the team, we don't always know if anybody of our teammates struggle with anxiety. So probably you've got any tips or any ideas on how we could be more caring towards our teammates, just to help them with their anxiety if we don't know if they struggle with it.
That's a tricky thing because I believe that sharing your emotions is a responsibility of those people who feel those emotions. I believe that, and we cannot help people if they are not asking for help. But I can share my experience in this topic because I would rather recommend to share your emotions to the team, even if you do not need help, just to share them. I had a case study where I shared my experience with another challenging feature, and I made a presentation, and on the very last slide of this presentation, I added something like, this was challenging, and this was an anxious month for me before the release. And one of my colleagues, she was like, oh wow, that was so helpful. This like we had a short conversation after that, and she told me that yeah, you can show me all those slides once again, but your last slide was the most helpful one, because sometimes not only me but my colleagues as well, they like do not feel that some things are challenging for us until we share that to them. So this impressed me, to be honest, and maybe that's one slide and that one feedback brought me here, because I was impressed like really much by her feedback. Yeah.
Thank you. Tanya, thank you a lot for this topic, because sometimes I think that all my life it is anxiety. It's fine. It's a very good topic because nobody talks a lot about it, about anxiety in business analysis life. but I'm interested how you manage or divide your personal anxiety and work anxiety, and maybe do you have any cases when your personal anxiety can have some impact to your work?
Um, I believe that we cannot split personal and work anxiety. I believe there is one anxiety, and of course, my personal anxiety. Sometimes when I just have a bad day, it affects my work, and sometimes I'm really not productive just because something happens in my personal life. But I believe that this is totally okay, and I believe that this is something about manage expectations. If you feel bad, and when I feel bad, I taught myself to go to the manager and I'm a little bit anxious that my results are not that good because of some personal stuff happening. And my manager I've never noticed any of that, and that's like a relief for me to be honest. And so I believe that this is okay, and this is something that will happen to you all the time. We cannot split our personal life and our work, but this is how it is.
Thank you for your answer because before I thought that real business analysts can mm, leave any anxiety, any emotions at home, like not to bring it in
Yeah,
office.
lying. They're just good liars.
But I changed my mind because I understand that I'm a real person and I can have bad mood. I can have any situation in my life, and I can't be like always with a smile and so on.
Yeah, I believe that our responsibility is not to leave anxiety at home, but to manage it and to work on managing it effectively instead of training ourselves to leave it at home. That's my personal honesty.
Like, thank you.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you for your presentation. And that's a question on the attitude of other people. So, is it okay to show other people your anxiety and maybe the other question how other people react on the person who are always nervous, always anxious, and mm, sometimes really needs help from others, yeah, to manage it. So I just wondered about interconnections.
Um, that's a good question, and I believe that uh, this is also not responsible if we share our anxiety all the time, because this is something that we need to manage ourselves, and most likely people, I mean our colleagues, they can help us to resolve some work tasks, but they cannot help us to resolve our anxiety. And I believe that resolve our anxiety is our personal responsibility. But what we can do is to ask for help in those places where we are not confident and we really need help. And the technique I described to uh, recognize and to understand anxiety, these are two necessary steps before you go and share your anxiety to your colleagues as it is. Because um, I cannot help my colleagues with clear, clean anxiety when they are anxious. I can help them with real questions. And there responsibility is to come up with these real questions to me. These are the questions I can help them with. But at least admitting your anxiety and at least admitting your current state, emotional state, it is still important. And sometimes I start a conversation with my colleagues, like, I've got a few questions, and I'm a little bit nervous about those questions. I'm not sure that these questions are reasonable. I'm not sure that this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I share these facts, and I share just a little bit of anxiety to them to show them that I'm like a person, a real person. But I believe that this um, should be followed by questions, real questions. And I believe that you need to recognize it, understand why it happens, and go with those questions to your colleagues. Not simply, going to them and asking them to help with your anxiety, because helping with anxiety, this is a clean emotion. And I believe that there is a there are psychotherapists, psychologists, and they can help with this clean emotion. And our colleagues are not the subject for this.
Maybe I can ask how can we reduce this energy that we can put in our work, that we instead of this take on our take on control our emotions. So this energy, how we can reduce the energy that we put into managing our anxiety and managing our emotions and controlling our feelings. That's the question.
I hope that I understood the question correctly. But I would say that these are like physical facts. We can we can breathe, and probably that's it. To be honest, I haven't found another way to do that, to manage this energy somehow, and to convert it to like understandable questions. This is a training. This is a matter of time and breathing, and that's it. I hope that I got your question correctly.
Yeah. So this is the tip how we can reduce, yeah, and how reduce the time. Maybe for some advice. Just
How we can reduce the time?
on trying to control our emotions.
We cannot reduce the time, and you need to accept this. The only, in a long-term perspective, yes, we can do that. But this is a matter of training ourselves. But in a short term perspective, there is no way. This is like sometimes we just need to accept it, to admit that it happens, and ask others for help. And doing our steps every day, and to see this progress in weeks, months, sometimes years. Because I'm saying that I managed to overcome anxiety, but to be honest, this is not truth, because sometimes I'm still catching this feeling, and sometimes I close the PC at the end of the day, and I was like, I do not remember the day. I was so anxious, and this is okay. Sometimes this is like not under our control, but we need to make these steps every day, literally every day. Okay.
Maybe a question. Have you ever been in situations when you have like extremely high level of anxiety, but it make you hyper productive? Can,
Never,
can it help in this
never.
way?
I've never been in that situations. high level of stress does not make me productive. High level of stress makes me disoriented, and I cannot perform at all. So personally, me, I do not believe that the high level of stress is helpful. Maybe if you think that maybe if you think that high level of stress is helpful, then this is not high level of stress.
They just say about this like injections of adrenaline, and you don't understand what you're doing, but you're like running from the lion, and you're doing extreme things.
If your job, I don't know, is a racer or something, then probably yes.
Not for business
But
analysts.
yeah, when you're a business analyst and you need to, make all those diagrams, thinking about them, thinking about edge cases, and so on and so forth, I believe that adrenaline does not help. Moreover, sometimes I do not drink coffee if I think that the day is going to be tough. And so this is like my
Not trace level.
yeah. Today I usually I take 2 cups of coffee a day. Today I had 1. Still. Okay. So yeah, I believe that we are all good. And yeah, thank you guys. Thanks the team who made this happen. And thanks for your hard work, for organizing everything, for communicating about this, letting know other people about this meetup. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I would like to ask, Ocha, could you please join Sonia?
Sure.